Today is Wednesday, May 3rd, 2023. Ukraine allegedly attacks Kremlin in drone strike assassination attempt. We will give you all of the breaking information. This is breaking literally right now. New emails reveal Joe Biden took 2011 meeting with 3 Hunter associates. Patrick Bet-David, who just offered Tucker Carlson $100 million, joins the show. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. It is certainly time to stay awake and stay alert and stay connected. These are dark times. These are the times, of course, that try men's souls because, well, we are led by weak men, and weak men create hard times. That is why you should always have dependable cell phone service. That is why I use Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. They offer dependable nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks, so you get the best possible service in your area without the woke propaganda or, well, without censorship. You need to know this information. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you support free speech, religious freedom, and the sanctity of life, Second Amendment, and our military and our veterans who, well, get ready, ladies and gentlemen. We are led by stupid people, and that typically has a bad result. Their 100% U.S.-based customer service team will make switching easy. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny. patriotmobile.com/Benny. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times, and we are living through the weak men hard times phase. We are right now living in the 4th turning. This is, of course, Thucydides' trap. You can have only prosperity for a certain period of time. Every 80 years, there needs to be a world war. That has been the cycle of life for the last 1,000 years, and now, well, it looks certainly like people are trying their hardest to create world war. So what is going on right now inside of Russia and inside of Ukraine? We don't do a lot of shows on Ukraine. This is not a topic that we are obsessed with. We really hate this topic, to be quite honest with you, and I would never lead off our show and package our show in a way to reflect news unless it actually was something that I thought was really, really important, okay? I am of the mind that so much of what is going on in Russia and Ukraine is a border and territorial dispute. There are no angels on either side, and that both sides are being weaponized and mechanized in order to create horrors for normal people living thousands of miles away who have nothing to do with this. And of course, our elites love every second of it, well, because they can get rich off war stocks. Go ahead and check the bank accounts and the stock portfolios of various members of Congress that are super in favor of this war. They can create a distraction for the American people from their failing policies here at home. And then, of course, the leadership class of this country are nigh on 80 years old. And so these people are obsessed with thinking that they are the new Winston Churchill and they can fetishize a brand new European war. This is a different time period, of course. They are out of date. They should be banned from being in office at their ages, to be quite honest with you. I don't agree with Nikki Haley on Musk, but I do agree that there should be competency tests after a certain age. We have those kind of tests for drivers on the road. We should have them for our leaders. But people like Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and Joe Biden, well, they were all born during World War II. That's a fact. Joe Biden was born before the end of World War II. And so these people, they sit there and they fetishize being the next Winston Churchill. And they say it on camera. And so these bloodthirsty mongrelites are going to drive us into war to protect their interests in Ukraine. Everything from biolabs to Hunter Biden business deals is sitting there all tied up in Ukraine, and they got to make sure that we go all in. The American people are sick of it. We're sick of defending a border thousands of miles from our border that remains undefended. But nonetheless, that's just me off the top, my take on Ukraine. So I'm not trying to sit there and tell you that this is the most important thing in the world. I'm telling you it's the opposite. But I do read the news, and we are never, ever offline. And when I saw this footage of a bomb, a drone, an alleged drone, blowing up over the Kremlin, I said, well, what if it was my Capitol building? How would that look to me? Okay? When I see here a drone, clearly it's a flying object. I have no indication that this is a deep fake. This has been out all over the internet, all over various corporate reporting, New York Times, Reuters, Washington Post, so on. This has been played on CNN and Fox News. This is the footage, of course, of Red Square, the seat of power in Russia for 1,000 years, Moscow. And you can see a flying object get blown up, apparently by an electronic sophisticated weapons system that blew up a flying projectile in midair. This was apparently not a fired shot, but an electronic system that blew up this drone. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Why do I care? Why is this important? Well, because what this is going to be used for is to agitate us further into world war. That's what I am upset about. I got kids. I ain't interested in sending my kids to a European theater to fight. I'm not interested in expending American treasure, further American treasure, on fighting someone else's border dispute. But ladies and gentlemen, here we go. There's another angle of the drone attacking the Kremlin. I think stuff is, obviously going to be potentially world-changing. Because now you have Russian generals that are out saying, well, now we need to invade Kyiv. And we're going to now conquer, we're going to collapse the Kyiv regime, which will, of course, lead to World War III. Mark my words. Here's another angle of that drone attack on the Kremlin.
The next clip is ready to play next to you.
So you can see there, obviously there was a projectile. That projectile flew directly over the government buildings in Moscow and blew up. I don't think that those are deep fakes. Now, the question that remains is, is this a false flag? This entire war has been an information war. And if you study the history of war, you'll realize that the propaganda is more important than the actual bullets or the bombs. And that you can win a propaganda war through false flags, like this one. Let's say that, this was an assassination attempt on Putin that they initiated inside of Russia. Let's say that the Russians were the ones that launched this attack. Well, what would this do? What if you saw a bomb going off or some foreign adversary attacking your U.S. capital? You'd get really upset. You get patriotic vigor, and you'd wish to fight further. Is that what's going on here? Well, the answer is we don't know. Unfortunately, we have been lied to every single step of the way inside of this conflict. And the only truth teller in it all, the only person to openly call out the lies, was Tucker Carlson. He was kicked off air nigh on 1 week ago. And then they bombed the Kremlin. Interesting timing, that. Tucker Carlson called out, of course, the number one false flag operation to this point in Russia and Ukraine, which was the blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline. Our dutiful, bootlicking, ass-kissing media ran with the narrative from our deep state saying, oh, it was just Russia blowing up their own pipeline. Of course. It was Russia doing it. Russia blew up their own their only economic leverage over Europe. Even though Joe Biden and Victoria Nuland have promised that this pipeline would be blown up if Russia invaded Ukraine. The only person to call it out, Tucker Carlson. Go.
So then the pipelines actually blew up. These are the pipelines that bring natural gas from Eastern Europe to Western Europe to keep the European economy going. And they exploded, causing the single largest human-caused environmental disaster in all of history. And again, setting Europe on the road to actual poverty. So it was an unpopular event, and Joe Biden denied any responsibility. In fact, he blamed Russia. Joe Biden and his whole administration told us that somehow Russia, for reasons they never made clear, just because they're evil, had sabotaged their own energy pipeline. Watch this.
It was a deliberate act of sabotage, and now the Russians are pumping out disinformation and lies.
So that was in September, and it was obvious from the very first day, well, that's not true. It's not that Vladimir Putin is too good a person to blow up Nord Stream, but why would he? It only hurts him. And by the way, it really hurts Western Europe.
So what we're looking at here is a information war, a propaganda war, a false flag war that is being fought, and it's impossible to tell what is true or not. What we do know as of this morning is that Russian generals are calling for an all-out collapse of the Kyiv regime and now a full assault on Kyiv. What's that going to do? Well, they're trying to put Ukraine into NATO right now, and so a full-on assault on Ukraine is going to mean that all of the NATO powers then are going to have to declare war on Russia. Russia is allied with China, and then you have a new world war. With nuclear powers now, with thousands of nuclear weapons all across the globe. Weak men, hard times. Joe Biden is a weak man. Under Donald Trump, we had peace and security in this world, and now we get this. Seymour Hersh, one of the best journalists on planet Earth, somebody who has been integral in exposing military and deep state corruption his entire career, somebody who's won Pulitzers, reporting that, yes, America, of course, blew up this pipeline. He goes through the details of which boats, the timing, the mechanisms, the explosions, the sequencing, what was used as a cover for this. The details are unbelievable in this story. And so this, of course, is being used then as a predicate to instigate and push Russia further, to poke the proverbial bear. And that is what these idiots know how to do. I'm not a historian. I don't consider myself to be like the world's foremost war historians, but anybody who has just a cursory knowledge of World War I, especially World War I, World War II as well, but especially World War I, will know that that entire war started because of escalations of stupid people. Because the dumbest possible leaders that you could possibly ask for were in charge of the richest nations and the most armed nations. And those dumb people, those room temperature intelligence individuals, drove the world into war, and they had no idea how to get out of it. Once the escalation started, there was no idea how to get out of it. And it all started with an assassination attempt, a successful one. They're saying that this is an assassination attempt on Vladimir Putin. That's what the Kremlin's saying. Vladimir Putin wasn't in the building, so let's say this was a legitimate assassination attempt. Well, it didn't work. The guy apparently wasn't in the building. But this is going to have a propaganda effect, of course, for Russia. And what do we know? What do we know now? Well, we know that based on the Pentagon leaker, that we're not prepared for an all-out war. The American people are beginning to tire of this, and so we can see here from this Breitbart piece, what did the Pentagon leaker leak? Well, let's go through the top line. They leaked that there are massive losses in Ukraine, much more than they're reporting, that they have missile and bullet shortages and ammunition shortages. They leaked that Ukraine drone strike inside of Russia. Oh, interesting. What's this about? An undated document says the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky expressed concern about the country's top generals and other officials and the lack of missiles to hit Moscow forces inside of Russia. This was according to the Pentagon leaker. Now, this guy was, of course, arrested. The media cheered. Of course, the media wouldn't report on any of this. But this guy's leaking, apparently, documents saying that Ukraine wants to do drone strikes inside of Russia. And you don't need to go to leaked documents to find that out. Ukrainian generals have openly said that they want to roll Ukrainian tanks through Red Square. So that's what this guy's leaks. So they arrest this guy, and then what happens? They arrest this guy, they kick Tucker Carlson off air, and then the first thing that happens is there's a drone strike on the Kremlin. Interesting. He leaks stuff about Israel, South Korean protests, and so on, and then Black Sea surveillance flights. That the United States is actually operating drones in Russian territory, effectively. We have footage of that because Russia just downed an American Reaper drone over the Black Sea. Watch. Here is the footage of a American drone, and it is flying over the Black Sea. That's a Russian fighter jet. It's essentially downing the drone by leaking jet fuel onto it, and by breaking its systems. So a terrifying escalation by the dumbest people in the world. Okay. It's a fatal mistake to think that like there are angels in all of this, ourselves included. There are no angels in war. That there's somehow one side is the angels and and one side are the demons. No, the only angels when it comes to war are people who stop wars. It's possibly my favorite. I'm a fan of Donald Trump. It's probably my favorite thing that he did. Not get us into wars. In fact, de-escalate and stop wars. But this is our war. That's something that the Pentagon leaker, the recent Pentagon leaker, exposed. Watch.
These are the two essential themes of the war in Ukraine, and both of them are lies. We know that they're lies because late last week, leaked intelligence about the war in Ukraine began to appear on social media. Briefing slides prepared by the U.S. government began to show up, among other places, on Twitter. And the slides show that this is, in fact, not Ukraine's war. It's our war. The United States is a direct combatant in a war against Russia. As we speak, American soldiers are fighting Russian soldiers. So this is not a regional conflict in Eastern Europe. This is a hot war between the two primary nuclear superpowers on Earth. And yet this war has never been formally declared. It has not been authorized by Congress. And for that reason, this war is a violation of American law. It is a crime.
So this crime is now escalating. Again, what would be the effect on the American public if you saw a bomb blowing up over one of your cherished government buildings? It would be bad. It would have a galvanizing effect generally. It would have a propaganda effect. And I have no idea right now. The sad part is that I don't know who's telling lies and who's telling the truth. I know this, that the man in charge of our Pentagon, our Department of Defense, Lloyd Austin, that this guy is a paid shill from inside of the military-industrial complex. This guy worked for Raytheon, Boeing, and all these other military-industrial complex agents and apparatchiks. That Lloyd Austin's job, effectively, has been to lie about this war from the get, and we can prove that. Watch.
Just 2 weeks ago, for example, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin told the U.S. Senate that Russian military power is, quote, waning. In other words, Russia is losing the war. That was a lie. He knew it was when he said it, but he repeated it in congressional testimony. That is a crime. But Lloyd Austin has not been arrested for committing that crime. Instead, the only man who has been taken into custody, or likely ever will be, is a 21-year-old Massachusetts Air National Guardsman who leaked the slides that showed that Lloyd Austin was lying.
You have liars that are now in charge of this country's military. You have liars that are agitating us toward war. They have lied about the biolabs in Ukraine. The Pentagon has come out and admitted to building biolabs in Ukraine. Why the hell would they do that? They have lied about the relationship between the Bidens and Ukraine. Why? Why this obsession with Ukraine? And they lied about a color revolution that they staged in Ukraine years ago. They've lied about Crimea. This entire thing has been a lie. And it's so depressing for a guy like me because I don't want to have to cover this. I think there are far more important things happening here at home. But unfortunately, when I saw this footage, here it is again, we'll play it. This footage, when I saw the bombs exploding over the Kremlin, there's the drone footage, boom. What's that going to do? What effect is that going to have on your country? What effect is that going to have on your nation? You're going to see an escalation in this war. And these are nuclear powers now fighting in open conflict. And these are people that you cannot trust. You cannot trust Joe Biden. You cannot trust Lloyd Austin. Congress has not declared war, yet here we are with American troops on the ground in Ukraine, according to the Pentagon's own documents. So what are we left with? Well, we're left with a further, and I suppose here's our call to action, a further absolute red light blinking urgency to ensure that Joe Biden does not win in 2024. Let this be the call. What damage can they do leading up to 2024? We'll see. We still got 18 months, right? We still got a little while. We'll see. But ladies and gentlemen, this should be a top question of any Republican presidential candidate. How the hell do you end this? How do you walk back from the brink? Now, there's U.S. intelligence breaking in Axios just yesterday morning saying that the America is preparing for war with China in Taiwan. Oh, that's great. And what does that look like? Well, that looks like the country that we have outsourced all of our manufacturing to, all of our pharmaceuticals to. Literally, the entire American economy is run out of China. Really great job, Bushes. Great job, Bush family. Wonderful job. CIA asset, Bush family. Outsource all of American manufacturing from places like East Palestine and move it on over to the slaughterhouse and the just filthy, degenerate communities inside of China for the slave labor. Most of it done by people in concentration camps, by the way. Uyghurs, enjoy your Nikes, LeBron James. But the thing is that you can't shut down your economic trade with a place like China the way you could with Russia. You know, you just flip the switch and suddenly you're not allowed to like use Instagram in Russia and everything like that. You weren't allowed to trade with Russia. You can't do that. You can't do that with China. That's where all of our pharmaceuticals are made. That's where literally everything is made. That's where like that's where Fords are being made right now. Like there's like a car, an exclusive like American automobile that is exclusively now made in China and not Detroit. This is how much these people have ruined our nation and how much we need to be wise in selecting our next leader. And that is why we probably shouldn't pick someone who is wholly and totally compromised by China and Ukraine and Russia. Who's compromised by Russia? Is it Donald Trump? Ronald Grump? I heard he had a PP tape there. No, actually, the person who's verifiably compromised by Russia is Joe Biden. Joe Biden, here, breaking news, this is how we were going to start our story before they bombed the Kremlin and further tipped us into nuclear war. Well, Joe Biden took a 2011 meeting with 3 of Hunter Biden's associates, according to a brand new email. Now, this is going to come as a steady drumbeat of further confirmation that it was Joe Biden as the racketeering head of a crime family. Watch.
Now to the latest on the Hunter Biden scandal. Emails from 2011 revealing the first son helped at least 3 business associates get access to his father, who was then vice president.
These email and also some visitors' logs from the White House suggest that one of Biden's top aides at the White House was assisting Hunter's efforts to secure a multi-billion-dollar overseas deal.
And the deal was, we got to get that meeting with your dad.
Yep, got to get that meeting with your dad. You know, the Kaiser, who was in charge of Germany in World War I, was like not an intelligent man. Unfortunately, the roll of the dice, Germany was like the major agitator in World War I when Franz Ferdinand was assassinated. And you can go back through this history. It's really fascinating, but really like a enormous number of missteps and misguided moves and lack of action or direction towards stupid goals is what led to the slaughterhouse that was World War I. That took many American lives, French lives, that really just depleted, like destroyed Europe as we know it. World War II was just a World War I, like redux. It was just a sequel to World War I. All of it, like the great powers were World War I. And the reason why this happened was the smart people inside of Germany that had created peace and prosperity had either died off or been kicked out of government because of petty squabbles. And the dumb and corrupt people were then in charge. And those people led to unspoken and unseemly horrors that ended an entire generation, quite frankly, began the downward spiral of Christendom and Western values across the world. So now we have, in charge of America, a similar Kaiser, somebody who is abjectly and totally wholly corrupt, compromised, through and through. The world knows it. The dumbest possible people in charge at the worst possible time. These emails are, of course, damning. They come directly from Hunter Biden's laptop, and they show that Joe Biden has a personal reason to get America into a third world war. Well, because it would distract people from his own corruption. Watch.
The emails reviewed by Fox News Digital reveal Hunter Biden organized a meeting with his father, who was vice president at the time, and his deputy chief of staff in the summer of 2011 with 3 of his business associates. So the allegation has gone that Joe Biden has made money off of the foreign deals that Hunter Biden was making. Here you have a meeting with Hunter's associates, with Joe Biden, the VP. And the Senate wants to talk about ethics, Andy, and look at the Supreme Court about ethics. If they want to look at ethics, they could look at Joe Biden, the president, and Hunter and find plenty of ethical violations.
Yeah, well, yeah, I kind of feel bad for the Bidens because You know, we see President Biden nightly. It looks like he needs people to take him by the arm so that he knows where to go from place to place. But I mean, this looks like it was probably what was going on a dozen years ago in 2011, because this poor guy never had a conversation with Hunter about business matters, and yet he kept showing up at meetings. You just gotta have to wonder kind of how he got there.
Yeah. That's taking it lightly. Andy McCarthy, here's what the actual reporting shows: that President Joe Biden and his deputy chief of staff have met with Hunter Biden's business associates, at least one of whom was a foreign national, at the White House in the summer of 2011 when he was vice president, according to emails and visitor logs reviewed by Fox News Digital. At the time of the meeting, Hunter was trying to secure a deal with those associates in bonds worth billions of dollars. In June 2011, Hunter Biden and his business partner, the Rosenbaum Seneca partner, Devin Archer, who is now cooperating with the GOP, Sean Colon, the future CNBC The Deed co-host and founder, okay, so this guy's a TV star, presented a lucrative business opportunity to Hunter that he would be able to secure a meeting between his father and two of his associates, who is identified as Xi Wang in the visitor logs. Oh, okay. So they're bringing in Chinese nationals into the White House to go meet with Joe Biden. Got it. So that's what's going on here. So they're bringing in Chinese nationals to go buy up American bonds. And they need Joe Biden's sign-off for that. Okay, what do we need to do moving forward? Hunter asked in the emails. We'll discuss. I got a letter. I need to email about the event and promise a meeting next week. Minutes later, Hunter was able to deliver his father to the Chinese so that they could take a management, so that they could get a management fee on the billions of dollars that the Chinese were going to be investing in American bonds. It's so filthy. It's so dirty. It's so disgusting. It is the crime of the century that the media doesn't cover this. This is what we are here for. We are the media now. And so I will never stop playing you this voicemail directly from Hunter Biden talking about the collapse of his Chinese business partners and meetings, directly connecting his father to this enterprise. Again, this is not about some crackhead kid. This is not about some human sex trafficker or Hunter Biden. This is about Joe Biden being the head of this crime family. That's what we are going for. And that is why this voicemail makes all the difference. Hunter Biden directly tying his father to these Chinese business deals.
I get calls from my father to tell me that the New York Times is calling, but my old partner, Eric, who literally has done me harm for I don't know how long, is the one taking the calls because my father will not stop sending the calls to Eric. I have another New York Times reporter calling about my representation of literally, Dr. Patrick Koh, the spy chief of China, who started the company that my partner, who was worth $323 billion, founded, and is now missing. The richest man in the world is missing, who was my partner. He was missing since I last saw him in his $58 million apartment and signed a $4 billion deal to build the largest LNG port in the world. And I am receiving calls from the Southern District of New York, from the U.S. Attorney himself. My best friend in business, Devin, has named me as a witness without telling me in a criminal case, and my father without telling me.
These people are filthy. They're dirty. You couldn't even write Hollywood scripts like this. You have in that single voicemail, that is a 67-second voicemail, Hunter Biden talking about being in business with the effing spy chief of China, how Joe Biden is navigating that business and putting that business together for him. They are trying to sell off American resources, whether it be bonds or an LNG port, as you just heard there. Hey, Texas Attorney General. Hey, district attorneys in Texas. They're trying to sell your gasoline, your natural gas to the Chinese. Maybe investigate them? Knock, knock, knock. Maybe investigate the Bidens for doing that? That's allowed now. But more importantly, you not only have one side of the coin there. Interesting how you've never heard that voicemail before, huh? If you tune into this show, you'll hear the voicemails because we have actually gone through the laptop and have helped pull out data from it. You'll also hear this side of the voicemail, which is Joe Biden. Boy, it sure would be nice to have both sides talking to each other inside of this RICO case. And now you have that. Joe Biden openly coordinating with his son the press coverage of their Chinese business deals. This came after the New York Times dropped a massive expose on the Biden's Chinese business deals. This is Joe Biden in the flesh, very translucent, diseased, vampire-looking flesh, but flesh nonetheless, we think, depending on which Biden we're getting today. I like number 3 the best. Here's Joe Biden telling his son that he's in the clear, which is, of course, something that innocent people say to each other.
Hey, pal, Dad. It's 8:15 on Wednesday night. If you get a chance, give me a call. Nothing urgent. Just want to talk to you. I thought the article, at least the thing online, it's going to be printed tomorrow in the Times, was good. I think it's clear. And anyway, if you get a chance, give me a call. I love you.
So, you're in the clear is not something that my mother's birthday was yesterday. And when I called her to say happy birthday, I didn't say, you're in the clear, Mom. That's not what innocent people say to each other. So we are led by liars. They're bombing the Kremlin now. Whoever they are, could be the Russians, could be the Ukrainians, could be the Biden regime, for all I know. But I know this. They're liars. They're lying about American boots on the ground. They are lying us into a third world war to distract. They need some new catastrophe. They need some type of new disaster in order to pull Americans off this story, in order to stop people from looking at this, in order to distract Congress from going after this. That is why, speed up with haste. If you need further evidence that Joe Biden lies, please. When he is asked by Peter Doocy, when he's running for president at the Iowa State Fair, have you ever had any involvement in your son's business dealings? Remember the 2 voicemails I just played you of Hunter Biden saying Joe Biden's involved in my business dealing, Joe Biden saying he's involved in the business dealings, and here's Joe Biden on the record being asked this question. See if you can spot the lie here.
Mr. Vice President, how many times have you ever spoken to your son about his overseas business dealings?
I've never spoken to my son about overseas business dealings.
And so how do you know?
Here's what I know. I know Trump deserves to be investigated. He is violating every basic norm of a president. You should be asking him the question, why is he on the phone with a foreign leader, trying to intimidate a foreign leader, if that's what happened? That appears what happened. You should be looking at Trump. Trump's doing this because he knows I'll beat him like a drum. And he's using the abuse of power and every element of the presidency to try to do something to smear me. Everybody looked at this, and everybody's looked at it and said there's nothing there. Ask the right question. Mr. Biden,
okay. Ask the right questions. You ever seen that clip? Why isn't that played every single day? You ever heard those voicemails? Why don't they play those voicemails of Joe Biden and Hunter Biden openly describing their criminality? Why indeed? Why does it fall to shows like ours? And it makes you actually the most informed viewers on the internet. And we love you and we thank you. Now, there are nuclear powers wishing to go to war. We don't want nuclear war. China and Russia are now allied with the other BRICS nations against the United States. Everyone has nuclear-tipped missiles now. But there's only one nuke that I control, which is the nuclear cringe alert. I play it once on a show. Typically when Cringe Jean-Pierre has an answer, and, well, we have a perfect clip. And that ties in directly to the Biden's lying and how duplicitous and dirty and filthy these people are. How dirty are you? Well, I would argue, as a father, somebody who loves my children, are you a father? Are you a parent? Let me know in the comment section. If you're a parent and you're a father, and especially if you're a believer, the worst thing you can possibly do is abandon your children, okay? Bring these little children unto me. Don't harm a hair on their heads. It'll be worse if you have a big rock thrown around your neck, thrown into the ocean, Jesus says. Don't harm the children. Don't abandon your children. Don't abandon children. I mean, that is a very specific type of evil, okay? I'm all for forgiveness. That's a tough one. Don't abandon your child. It's a very dangerous thing to do. And so if you need evidence of somebody's moral character, are they a child abandoner? There are a lot of bad things you can be in this world. Abandoning your child has to be near the very top. And Hunter Biden has done that. Of course, Hunter Biden had a relationship with a stripper. She got pregnant. There's a beautiful little child living in Arkansas right now that is the biological daughter of Hunter Biden. Her name is Navy Jones Roberts. The Bidens refuse to acknowledge their 7th grandchild. If you need further evidence of their moral duplicity, Jill Biden puts on the trash bag she's going to wear today and wobbles downstairs in a Chardonnay haze and hangs up 6 stockings over the fireplace at the White House, ignoring the fact that she has a biological granddaughter. These people are disgusting individuals. Hunter Biden was in court yesterday having to face the mother of his child as Hunter Biden refuses to pay any alimony. Cringing Pierre was asked about it. Here's your nuclear cringe.
I wanted to ask about the trial going on in Arkansas with Hunter Biden and the child support. Are the president and first lady monitoring that? And how come they haven't acknowledged the 7th grandchild?
I'm not going to speak to that from here.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to speak to that from here. Got it. Okay. I love also how the meekness at which the reporter's asking that question. That would be a question that would be screamed in the face of Donald Trump every second of every single day. And I mark my words. I make a promise to you, and I've always kept my promises to you. If I am ever in an elevator or in a photo line, or I sneak into a Joe Biden event, I'm going to look that man straight in the face. And of all the things I could ask him, and a lot of things come to mind, I'm going to say, how many grandkids you got? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go, how many grandchildren you got? Of course, I'm going to have someone filming with me. I'll say, hey, pal, how many grandkids you got? I want him to answer that. I want him to answer it directly. Somebody who's going to be having to give direct answers is Antony Blinken. Antony Blinken has to produce all records related to lying about Hunter Biden's laptop to Congress. There is a deadline, which is 24 hours from now, from Antony Blinken to turn over all emails and all communications pursuant his lies about the coordination of a false flag attempt inside of our own government. And that false flag attempt is saying that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. What an insult, by the way. What an insult. Just on a basic foreign policy level. No wonder China doesn't pick up the phone. No wonder Russia doesn't talk to us. What an insult. Using another country, essentially, to stage a false flag in your own nation, claiming that it was made by the Russians. What is that going to do to, American-Russian relationships? These people, we are led by the dumbest possible people. Here's the deadline.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken has until Thursday to come up with all documents referring to the infamous Hunter Biden laptop letter. House Republicans requesting any communication after testimony from a former CIA official claimed that Blinken was the driving force of the statement from 2020.
So there's a perjury trap, because what they have now is they have Mike Morrell, who's the old CIA asset, who was in charge of drumming up this letter. Mike Morrell says under oath, because Mike Morrell knows the dangers of lying to Congress, especially when there's a paper trail. Mike Morrell says, yeah, it was Antony Blinken. He put all this together. So the new emails show that Antony Blinken not only was communicating in order to assist in a false flag operation against the American people by lying to them about Hunter Biden's laptop, but was also directly involved in Hunter Biden's business dealings inside of Ukraine. Why is it always Ukraine? Watch.
Mike Morrell testified that Antony Blinken was the impetus for the public statement. House Republicans now demanding all of the information on that original letter. Who crafted it in total? The deadline for Blinken and others, Thursday, for that information. Blinken's denial comes as more ties between him and Hunter Biden are coming to light. New reporting says Antony Blinken and his cabinet secretary wife tried to influence government officials on behalf of Burisma. That's that Ukrainian energy company that Hunter Biden was sitting on the board of. Oversight Chairman James Comer now accusing Hunter's attorneys of obstructing his committee's investigation.
What if we had an honest media? What if we had an honest media? Soon we'll be joined by a man who's offered Tucker Carlson $100 million. What if we had a real media in this country? What kind of a country would we have? These individuals were actually exposed. Ron Johnson wants to expose Anthony Blinken. During an interview on December 22nd, 2020, Blinken told Senate investigators that he had not texted or emailed Hunter Biden, but emails contained on Hunter Biden's laptop show that Anthony Blinken is lying. Hunter Biden emailed Blinken's personal email addressing requests to meet and get advice on a couple of things, and absolutely, he replied. The emails you can see for yourself. Johnson and Grassley, co-authored of the Hunter Biden 2020 report, released the transcript of Blinken's false statements to Congress. Question, did you ever talk to Hunter Biden on the phone? Blinken, not that I recall. Question, did you have any other meetings or correspondence with him, emails or text? No. Blinken's false statement has raised red flags as senators have asked for the veracity of the testimony over Hunter Biden's Burisma holdings and board membership. Question, you were not aware that Hunter Biden served on Burisma's board. Blinken, to the best of my recollection, I was not. You have the emails. You have the literal emails of them coordinating together. So here we go, baby. Here we go. Anthony Blinken, once again, lying. If you couldn't tell, there's a theme of the show, and it's not really hard. It'd be a lot easier to count the times they've told the truth, because you'd only need like a one fist full of fingers to do it. Anthony Blinken denying the things that exist. Literally, I've shown them to you right now on the show in front of you. Watch.
I want to ask about the letter that was written concerning Hunter Biden's laptop that said it was, Russian disinformation. Can you explain what your role was in that and if you incentivized it?
Well, first, one of the great benefits of this job is that I don't do politics and don't engage in it. But with regard to that letter, I wasn't my idea, didn't ask for it, didn't solicit it, and I think the testimony that the former Deputy Director of the CIA, Mike Morrell, put forward confirms that.
Do you accept that the laptop is not Russian disinformation?
Again, from my perspective, I'm not engaging in politics. I've got a lot on my agenda, things that we've just talked about, trying to help the Ukrainians in the Russian aggression against them, engaging with allies and partners around the world, and dealing with some of the challenges posed by China.
So this laptop that has been confirmed as Hunter Biden's, based on the fact that there are 400,000 photos of naked Hunter Biden on it, that would be pretty hard to deepfake with the best AI, but also a lot of voicemails from his dad, for instance, CBS News, the Washington Post, the New York Times, everyone on earth confirming that it's not Russian disinformation. Your scumbag greaseball Secretary of State is sitting there saying, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure, I'm not going to play politics. This has nothing to do with politics. This has to do with you lying to Congress. And it's getting bad. And the lies continue, ladies and gentlemen. Merrick Garland has been caught up in one hell of a doozy. And he's, our top law enforcement official in the country is now apparently lying to Congress, ladies and gentlemen. But before that, these people are running this country into the ground, and you certainly don't want them to run your savings account into the ground or the things that you have worked very hard for. So please, please, take my advice right now, more than ever. Consider diversifying. Consider investing with my friends at Allegiance Gold. Allegiance Gold can help protect your IRA, 401k with physical gold and silver. If you prefer, you can have that gold and silver delivered directly to your door to stare at it in the palm of your hand. This is the time. Have you seen what gold is doing right now inside of this market? It's literally one of the first and only hedges that you can have in a market like this where literally everything is collapsing, including banking stocks yesterday that took just a total tumble. Get up to $5,000 in free silver with qualifying purchase when you visit protectwithbenny.com. Or give them a call, 844-790-9199. Protectwithbenny.com, protectwithbenny.com. My buddies at Allegiance Gold will take care of you. Somebody who's not taking care of business is Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland has been caught in a massive lie. Merrick Garland is saying that he's not interfering in the investigation of Hunter Biden's laptop. I stand by my testimony, he said, as it pertains to the whistleblower claims from the IRS that are now saying that Merrick Garland is the official that is lying. Merrick Garland saying he's not interfering, and now you have a IRS whistleblower in the criminal division who says they have proof, verifiable proof, that Merrick Garland has told a lie. What lie was that? We have the tape. Let's roll it.
Indicate that the Justice Department and the FBI had at one time over a dozen sources that provided potentially criminal information relating to Hunter Biden. The alleged volume and similarity of the information would demand that the Justice Department investigate the truth and accuracy of the information. Accordingly, what steps has the Justice Department taken to determine the truth and accuracy of information provided? Congress and the American people, I think, have a right to know.
So as the committee well knows from my confirmation hearing, I promised to leave the matter of Hunter Biden in the hands of the U.S. Attorney for the District of Delaware, who was appointed in the previous administration. So any information like that should have gone or should have gone to that U.S. Attorney's offices and the FBI squad that's working with him. I have pledged not to interfere with that investigation, and I have carried through on my pledge.
So what the IRS whistleblower is saying, and this is somebody with 30 years of professional experience, somebody that is using the whistleblower avenues and going directly to Congress and actually working, interestingly, having his lawyer being appointed an agent of the committee, which is very fascinating, something that I read up on yesterday. So now this man's lawyer is an agent of the committee and has the capacity to review personal tax information. This is like a really special and very interesting chess move being made right now by Congress, by Jim Jordan and James Comer, friends of the show. They're now taking the whistleblower's attorney and deputizing him in order to look through all of the classified information of the Bidens. This is huge bombshell stuff. They're bringing the whistleblower in for a testimony. That'll be off. That won't be public. But then what they can do is they can declare, what Congress will do is then declare that this information needs to be made public and that is in the public interest via their oversight, because Congress is Article 1 and the executive is Article 2 for a reason. Congress has oversight over these executive liars. The executive has too much power, and you're seeing Merrick Garland lie once more. The lie is that Merrick Garland isn't interfering. And this guy at the IRS is saying he is interfering. Merrick Garland was asked directly yesterday. Here's how it went.
You assured Congress some time ago that the Hunter Biden investigation would be conducted without any kind of political interference. And I wonder if you would believe that that is still the case, if that is still the case, that the investigation is not being interfered in any political way, since an agent from Mr. Lee's agency has now come forward claiming whistleblower status and alleging that there has been some kind of interference. Yes,
it's still the case. I stand by my testimony, and I refer you to the U.S. Attorney for the District of Delaware, who is in charge of this case and capable of making any decisions that he feels are appropriate.
So, okay, cool. Continue. The regime is scared. It's the meme from Starship Troopers. We're leaning up against the alien and we're saying, it's scared. We'll see what happens. We'll hold fast, ladies and gentlemen, and we will hope that the truth gets out, because the truth shall set you free. It is why we've been nonstop covering Tucker Carlson's firing on this show, his departure from Fox. We gave you a bunch of inside information on that based on us being in D.C. this last weekend and communicating with a lot of Tucker Carlson's former writers, former executives, his business partners. We got some interesting inside details. We talked through all of that on Monday. But what we weren't counting on is a massive public $100 million offer to Tucker Carlson to join the PBD Podcast and Valuetainment media group, who are total ballers here on the YouTube platform. The man who's in charge of all of that, his name is Patrick Bet David, and he has made one hell of an offer to our boy Tucker. He joins the program now. Patrick, thank you for being on the program. It's an honor to have you. We've been a fan of your work for a while. I hope to join you sometime in studio, a fellow Florida broadcaster here. Way to go in cracking sort of the... oh, that was interesting, Royce. What was that? Oh, okay. Got it. So sorry guys, you saw me like on camera 3 times. I promise I actually want to show you Patrick, not myself, 3 times over. What about this offer? What about Tucker Carlson sort of created this offer from the first place? Like, what is it in your heart that said this man is worth $100 million?
I first of all, thank you for having me on your show. We've seen your work all over the place. You're crushing it yourself with content creation and pushing the envelope with getting the truth out there to the viewers. But I mean, look, there's only one Tucker. There's only one Joe Rogan. There's only one of these in different platforms, right? And when somebody like that is a free agent and you have the ability to sign them and you have saved resources for a moment like this, this is the benefit of having cash. When you go back and you think about what's happened with business the last 20 years, you'll see during times of crisis, there's a lot of shakeups in different industries, whether it's technology, Silicon Valley, whether it's real estate, what happened with WWIII, and then others come in and take that business and chase, bought WWIII that was once a $330 billion company for $1.9 billion, and that rolled up to them. And then today, seeing the 3 different banks that have gone out of business this year, bankruptcy, the 3 of them. First Republic, we're seeing what's going on with Silicon Valley Bank. We're seeing all these guys that are going through it. Media's going through it. Fox is going through it. Vice, $5.7 billion to now, on a fire sale. If you want to make an offer, we're in talks with some of the different products that they have. BuzzFeed, Don Lemon, some of the people are on the lineup right now that could potentially be fired next. You're hearing Don Bongino out of nowhere. Hey, this is what they're doing to what he did. These are things that are out there. But Tucker is a one of a kind. And for us, when I see what his vision is as a true believer, he's not afraid. He's charming. He's charismatic. He's smart. He's a fighter. He's fun. He has the right enemies that I actually support the fact that he has those people that are enemies. It's very easy to judge somebody based on the enemies they create, not just the allies. It's very easy to say, well, that guy's friends with those guys. But why do so many people hate him? And then now when you're looking at Tucker, now that he's a free agent, you saw on The View, they're, they're celebrating. They think they're going to get the last laugh with this guy. This is not how things work in history. You look at history in sports, history in politics, history in business. All the people that are laughing are one day going to be the ones that are going to be crying when he's back up there, and everybody is going to be talking about that guy again. So we believe in him in a major way, and we wanted to make a respectable offer to him for him to realize we're not just sitting out there talking. This is a real offer.
So we have the offer on the screen right now. Can you talk us through it?
Yes, $100 million offer over 5 years, equity stake in Valuetainment. We realize if this is the next phase, if I'm him, when I went through making my first round of money, and then it was the second round of money, that it was about, if I'm going to go drive a company and I know what my market value is, yes, I'm going to get paid what my market value is, but I want to also grow the company because I know what is an equity stake in a company. If that company, we build it to a $10 billion company, what does that look like? That typically is going to be much more than the money you made from the pay that was coming your way. And then a president position at Valuetainment, if he's got things that he wants to do, ideas, any of that stuff, you can push the envelope with some of the ideas that you got. Obviously, his own podcast, daily show, weekly show on an OTT, one that's going to be public. We have nearly 6 million subscribers on YouTube. So automatically, his thing's going to be distributed. There's not going to be any kind of break that we have to grow our channel or any of that stuff. Day one, we have a channel, 4.2 million subscribers, that all his stuff's going to be put there, and he'll get the viewerships, and that'll drive him to his OTT or show or other places that will be driving his main products to. And if he wants to do any documentaries, any movies he wants to consider doing on different stories, and then anything else, we're all ears. But this is mainly built on how we feel when you're at a certain phase of your life, when you know your value and you've proven it and you've made money, and you're at a point that you can say, look, honestly, I don't want to do nothing. Okay. And Tucker's the type of guy that could potentially say, I don't want to do nothing. I got a good life. I love my family, my kids. I just want to sit and do my own thing. I'm okay with that. Or you can kind of sit there and say, if I'm doing it, I'm not just doing it for money. I'm doing it because America really needs me. Okay, now who do I want to run with? If I do want to run with people, who do I want to run with? Do I want to run with people that just want to increase their market share? Do I want to just run with people that want to increase their stock price? Do I just want to run with people that want to get me because they're tired and they don't want to work as hard and they're hoping if I come and other people are going to show up? Or do I want to run with somebody that is a little off, is a little crazy, is a big thinker, is not afraid, it's got a unique story, is willing to go out there and push the envelope, is willing to do the fight, doesn't back down, has a track record of not backing out. Who do I want to go with? This movie just came out, Air. It's a phenomenal movie if you've not seen it. It's the story of Sonny Vaccaro on how Michael is coming out and everybody wants to get a shoe deal, okay? And the two people that are fighting for the shoe deal is Converse and the other one is Adidas. And Converse at that point had 54% market share of all NBA shoes. They had Magic, they had Bird, they had Julius Erving, the top three superstars in the NBA in 1984, 1985. So Converse is the one. Everyone's wearing Converse. Then Adidas was Adidas. Everybody would go to Adidas because they have the money. And Sonny Vaccaro is sitting there talking to his guy, Phil Knight, who ran Nike. And Nike's doing great, but Nike only had 17% of NBA shoes. So they're like, who is Nike? When we think about NBA, we don't think about Nike. We think about running shoes. If you remember the movie with Prefontaine, it's running shoes. They were never known for basketball shoes. But Phil Knight was crazy. Phil Knight worked on the weekends. Phil Knight worked late at nights. Phil Knight had a team of people that were thinking bigger. And that culture was evident in that community, in that culture. Anyways, Sonny sits there and says, we got to go get Michael. We got to go get the best guy. This is a once-in-a-lifetime type of a player. He sees the shot that Michael made in college, and there's a scene. And the other guy's sitting there that he reports, he says, what's the big deal? We've all seen the shot he made in Carolina. He says, no. You don't see the shot. He says, look at him closely. Look how comfortable he is. Look how he is not nervous at all. He's asking for the ball. The best player on that team is James Worthy, but they're not throwing the ball to him. Dean Smith wrote out this play for an 18-year-old kid. They pass him the ball. He shoots it, makes it. Michael doesn't make that shot. They don't do what they do. We have to make the investment in this guy. Phil Knight's saying, I don't know about this. Anyways, eventually they make a deal, and they bring Michael. 2003, Converse goes out of business. Nike buys them out. Nike ends up being 50+% share of NBA shoes today. And the last time you and I wore Converse was for a different reason. So we feel that's what our presentation is. That's who we are. And we have been doing that in the insurance industry for 22 years. Most people don't know us. Insurance is a very niche market, but we've been playing in the media space small 10 years ago. And then gradually we got a little bit bigger. And now we kind of want to push the envelope and start competing.
6 million YouTube subscribers is a monster platform, a monster network. Everybody knows the podcast. Everybody knows your content. And if you don't, you got to go subscribe right now. So what would Tucker Carlson at Valuetainment look like? Would it look like a nightly show? Would people be able to just effectively tune in the nightly show? What else would be, what kind of, he's such a, what's the right way to say this? He's such a Jordan himself, I guess, for the lack of a better analogy, because he just popped over onto Twitter, releases a video that gets seen by 80 million people. 80 million people. He breaks Twitter the first time he decides to lean into his audience, which is something that as a longtime Tucker, I've worked for the guy, I've written for the guy. He's a friend, and he's not responding to text messages now because he has 3,700 unread text messages. But I think I've been praying over him. I've been pushing him. Lean into the energy of the internet. Lean into the energy of the social web. Because that is where your actual audience is. You had the most Democrat viewers in all of cable news, and you worked for Fox News. That's wild. You had triple the key demo of young people like you. Yep. Lean into where they live, right? Outside of the box. Are you going to be pushing, if Tucker accepted this offer, would you be pushing him that direction?
Listen, you don't push a guy like that in any direction. You ask what he wants to do and you give your proposals and your ideas, and then we try to collaborate and see what makes sense, and we make our case for it. What I will say is the following. Here's one thing that we have to keep in mind. Let's think about him being held hostage. Let's just say today he's got 1.5 years left on the Fox contract. This is all speculation. I'm not saying definite that I know. Let's assume Fox is holding him contract for 18 months. Some are saying they're going to hold him hostage and they'll pay him the salary that they have to pay him. And they won't release him for a couple different reasons. One, they don't want Tucker to go out there and talk because, during the election cycle, it's better for Tucker to be quiet. Let's let him release November 10th, November 15th of 2024. Why? He's going to make a lot of noise, and Tucker's going to play a big role in whoever's going to get elected the next 18 months. There's a lot of people that don't want Tucker on camera. That could be one play. The other play may be they're sitting there saying, yeah, no, we're not going to do it. We're just going to keep him quiet. We don't like the fact that we look bad. Let's find a replacement. And then when we find a replacement that's a permanent one for 8 o'clock, then we will release Tucker. Third one's going to be somebody comes and buys out the contract, just like other people are buying out contracts from another team. Somebody's going to come in and say, what's left in the next 18 months? Here's the contract. We'll take the 18 months. come over to us and then we'll renew the contract with Tucker for another 5 years, for another 10 years, for another 3 years, whatever that may be. So that's that part with the holding hostage. But what's the point about being held hostage? So the 8 o'clock slot that he has with the viewers, Fox is 65 and up. That's the viewership that they have. That is the bread and butter. But what is the problem also when you go to a model like a Fox, like an NBC, like some of these other competitors that are secretly or privately making offers that he is potentially considering? You're still held hostage to the advertisers. You're still held hostage on what you can talk about, what you cannot talk about. So imagine if you want to call out the pharmaceutical companies, and then all of a sudden, after your break, a pharmaceutical commercial comes out, you just called them out. And then the CEO of that company calls and says, hey, you got to tell Tucker, you can't say that again. And then you have that meeting with Tucker and say, Tucker, next time you're doing your show, you cannot say that again because our pharmaceuticals companies are not happy. I didn't come here to be held hostage again. He has to think about that. So one of the things that Twitter is doing right now, which I like, Elon Musk, day one, he lost $750 million in advertising. That's what we cannot believe he lost. What's he going to do with this? And Elon's like, well, you don't want us to rely on advertisers? No. Then go pay for the blue check mark. Go pay for some of the services. Let's rely on subscription model. And yes, it's going to take us a minute to grow that base, but maybe 12 months from now, 18 months from now, 24 months from now, 36 months from now, we replace that $750 with other products. Maybe we start off with the $8.99 and LinkedIn's got a $29.99, $99.99. Maybe Elon's going to present other products that we're going to be spending more money for because the value exchange is good. And we'll pay $49 or $99 and then boom. Tucker's going to announce this quarter in subscription, we got $628 million in repeat revenue from subscription. We no longer need any money from advertisers. Now, advertisers are sitting there saying, holy shit, Elon doesn't need us. What are we going to do? We can no longer push them around. We can no longer bully them. The reality is, if we truly want to fight for Americans, if we truly want to fight for freedom, what this great nation built, that 40+ million immigrants worldwide want to come here, we have to get away from relying on advertisers, and we have to go to the subscription model. And to do that, there's only a few different ways to do it. So my suggestion would be, if we want to be free, we got to go that route to get the revenue so we can do whatever we want to do.
So you would create more of a subscription model, which is, I think, the direction that Tucker. So Tucker Carlson gets 3.5 million viewers a night.
Yep.
Tucker Carlson, of course, here's the tweet right here. 80, there it is, 80 million views. You can see there. Now that's the people who saw it in their feeds. That's right. I don't think that counts necessarily as a view, but still, that's monster. You got 1 million likes on that tweet. So let's say Tucker Carlson takes 15% of his 3.5 million person audience. You have 300,000 people paying $10 a month. There's your $100 million a year, right there. I mean that's I mean, there's Tucker Carlson tripling his Fox contract. If he took over, if he's able to pour over just a small percentage of his viewers. And so you're saying that that's the kind of model that that valuetainment would offer.
Listen, here's what I've never done well with. I don't do well with bullies. And America's being bullied today. Americans are being bullied today. Journalists that are actually willing to ask the questions that the rest of us are thinking about, such as Epstein, such as the 7th building, such as the basic question we want to know: what the hell happened with JFK assassination? Why did Time sit on the recording of the citizen journalist for 14 years before they disclose it to us that you've been sitting on that? What is that all about? Why are some of these things happening? Why is somebody who was shown email exchange with Hunter Biden, I don't know how many times, saying, no, I never had that email. That's not really me. Shouldn't we find these types of things out? So who's the ultimate person that's getting bullied? It's not people like Tucker that are getting bullied. It's not people that are trying to give the actual story and ask the tough questions that are getting bullied. It's the American people that are getting bullied. So if we start with that premise and the foundation that we have to fight for this great nation on what it was founded on, now how do we go and do that? We have to figure out a way where there's a relationship exchange, meaning if there is people that would like Tucker to be free to talk about whatever he has to talk about, maybe we have to pay premium for it. And if we can't pay premium for it, is it worth us paying slightly a little bit more to get the real Tucker with no handcuffs and muzzles and all this other stuff that mainstream media is doing? I don't know. I think I'm paying the premium for it. I think a lot of other people are willing to do it as well. If Netflix has 216 million subscribers paying some 10, 12, 15 bucks a month, and Disney's got 120 million, whatever their numbers, 150 million subscribers, and we're funding woke movies, cartoons, docs. You're funding it. I'm funding it. We're funding it. How do you fight against that? Well, guess what? You got to fund another platform to get those resources that they make the movies, the shows. The other night, I'm watching Jesus Revolution with my kids. We haven't finished it yet. We're halfway through. It's the story of Greg Laurie. And we're sitting there. I'm having one of the best conversations with my 9-year-old, my 11-year-old son. I want more movies like that. I want to have those types of conversations. I want to sit down and say, let's watch another Pursuit of Happiness. Let's watch another movie where a guy goes from African-American single father, comes out, goes to the top, Morgan Stanley, works his ass off, doesn't have any. We need more stories like that. We need to make movies like that. We need to go get some actors like that are big-name actors, have a $50 million budget where we can get real talent that people recognize and tell the story of some of the incredible heroes America's had. Tell the real story about what a great hero Elon has been instead of making these videos of what a villain he is, what a villain Tucker is, what a villain all these guys are. I'm sorry. Our hero-making machine in America is a shit show, and we got to fix it. But the same people that bitch about it, they have to help support the organizations that are putting themselves out there. So I don't know if you read between the lines, but I'm kind of making my case for people to realize if you don't like what's going on, well, then do something about it.
We have to create our own ecosystem. We have to create our own content. And that's why we grind so hard on this program. It's why we really want to pull out. We've been working with some advertising agencies. We want to do a billboard in Times Square thanking Elon with all of the accounts that he liberated on Twitter. There is a simple way to fight and to make and to break news. And all you need to do is just take the first step. So this is my final question for you, and I thank you for being so generous with your time. We've been a fan of your content for a long time. We follow you on Twitter, and you had a tweet that you shot off, I think, over the last 24 hours talking about the Vice liquidation sale. They can't find a buyer. Vice was valued at $6 billion a couple years ago, and now they are being sold for scrap. So you said the media is changing, and it's changing in a way that it'll take 10 years for us to see what's happening. So what is happening? Describe to us the future of media, please.
What a question. I'm going to give you a weird answer here. So Yahoo used to be God, and we all used to go to Yahoo. Yahoo Horoscope, Yahoo Sports, Yahoo Finance. We were all Yahoo all the time. Then all of a sudden your friends start saying, there's this new website called Google. Google, what a terrible name. They're trying to copy Yahoo. Yahoo's got 2 O's. Google got 2 O's. There's no way in the world they can compete with Yahoo. Yahoo's got Yahoo Finance, Yahoo Horoscope, Yahoo this, Yahoo that. Nope. Yahoo was gone, and Google took over. And the same founders still run Google. Whether you like them or not, they're a behemoth of a company today, right? So why? Some of these companies today, Forbes used to be the company that we went to for capitalist stories. The father gave the business over to the son, I believe Malcolm, and then he took this thing and turned it into a capitalist tool. You had private jets on the side that would say capitalist tool. Yachts, capitalist tools. He would put, I think for his 70th birthday party, he invited all these, I think Elizabeth Taylor was one of his best friends. He gave everybody a Rolex gift on his 70th birthday party. He did all the things where, wait, you're giving away Rolex if you were invited to his birthday party, on his 70th birthday party, you got a Rolex gift when you left, okay? This is Forbes. Forbes was a place where capitalists could finally go to and know they're not going to be judged, they're going to be protected, they're going to be edified, recognized. That's the magazine I bought until Forbes sold out to a company, Chinese company that owns 95% of Forbes. In 2021, the International Woman of the Year award Forbes gave to one and only Hillary Clinton. Forbes is no longer Forbes. What does that mean? Companies that were protecting people sold to the wrong guys. Just the same way in our Constitution, companies need to be protected. There are guys that start media companies built to sell. It is a model. Let's build a company. Let's get it to a number. Let's sell it. Let's become rich. It's all about money. Then there's companies that is cause-driven, okay? That is cause-driven. Vice started off with the right idea. We all watch Vice. We all looked at the docs they were doing. They were doing a phenomenal job. Then all of a sudden they sold out. And guess what happens when you sell out to the clients and customers that were once paid customers? They disappear, and you go from being $6 billion to irrelevant. And a lot of people are doing that. So if you were to judge who's going to do well in the media space based on how big people are today, it's going to take us 10 or 20 years to realize who the real players are. It literally will take us 10 or 20 years. Unfortunately, a lot of people are going to make some mistakes, teaming up with the wrong platforms that are not doing it for a real cause. It's more for money. And you have to be very strategic at a time like this when you're making a decision on who to team up with.
Well, I cannot encourage enough my followers to go and follow Valuetainment, follow Patrick's podcast. Where can people find your work, please?
Valuetainment, Patrick Bet David on Twitter. You'll find our content if you just go on YouTube. And we have a podcast that we do twice a week, PBD Podcast. You can find that on YouTube.
It's up on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. Pop on over there. 4.16 million followers for just this page, and I think there's 6 million across all platforms.
6 million across all YouTube channels that we have.
All right, thank you. It's been an honor.
It's great being on. Thanks for the invite.
Go get Tucker.
Yes. Take care.
Go get Tucker is what they say. Go get Tucker. Well, Media Matters is trying to get Tucker right now. Media Matters is releasing something they're calling the Fox Files. Now, this is footage that is being leaked of Tucker Carlson in order to try and damage him. Is this damaging to Tucker? I don't think so. It actually makes Tucker Carlson look like the man that I have told you he is on this program time and time again. The man who would give you the shirt off his back, the man who is funny, and the same person on camera as he is off. All right, so first clip that Media Matters drops yesterday, supposedly trying to damage Tucker Carlson. Watch.
Well, that was a week, I'll say. Holy 10 hours. That slimy little mother sitting across from me. Oh, you're the best. And I wasn't talking about you. It's just the opposite.
He's giving me a compliment.
No, I'm not. What do you mean? Because you've never been this affirmed in your life? I bet. Thank you, Alex. Have a happy weekend. See you, man. The amount, it was so unhealthy, the hate, thank you, Teresa, the hate that I felt for that guy. I mean, thank you, Todd. How could you not? I never feel that way, because I don't put myself, I don't want to feel that way. I think it's wrong. It's bad. It's totally bad for you to feel that way. But that guy, I mean, he triggered the shit out of me. Where are you now? Where do you live? I mean, the amount of times I had, first of all, you on my lips was like, it was unbelievable. Suggesting that I was cheating on my taxes.
So this is Tucker Carlson describing his exchange with a Dominion lawyer for the Dominion voting machine. Tucker Carlson had to be deposed for 8 hours, and then Fox eventually settled after putting a lot of their hosts through a lot of hell. You can argue all of that left, right, and center, but Tucker Carlson proving that he is kind. Like, they're trying to release these leaks in order to hurt Tucker Carlson. He's proving that he is kind and courteous and grateful to his staff, that he is just a bro behind the scenes, and that he has the right enemies, as you just heard Patrick Bet David say. He has the right enemies, including Media Matters. Watch.
You wouldn't? Okay. I'm not, you know what? I'm not qualified on that score, I will say. I thought his girlfriend was kind of yummy. Just kidding, in case this is being pulled off the bird. Yeah, the bird. Hey, Media Matters for America. Go yourself. That's the first thing I want to say tonight. Second thing is, totally kidding. I don't even know what his girlfriend looks like. And if I did, I would not find her yummy.
Okay, as somebody who's been with Tucker behind the scenes, as somebody who's been with Tucker in an office setting and on a professional setting and behind the stage setting, dude, he's just like he is on camera. He's the same person. It's the best you can possibly ask for. The best I can possibly ask for, if you meet me at the grocery store, or if you're a fan of the show and you see me at a gas station, getting a pack of gum and filling up my car, that I'm going to be the same person that you see here on your phone every single morning. That's honesty. That's integrity. That means you know who you are as a person. It's the opposite of someone like Kamala Harris or our lizard class of rulers. These people don't have any moral character. They don't have any character at all. They are told by polls who to be and what to say and when to say it. That's why they're so cringe in real life. From Karine Jean-Pierre to Kamala Harris to Joe Biden. None of these people have any type of moral fabric at all. Joe Biden doesn't even have any type of skin fabric anymore, depending on what mask they have him in that day. It's like, it's so wonderful and remarkable to see somebody who's just the same person. It means deep moral clarity, and it means deep joy and abiding happiness. And you can see that, obviously, in Tucker Carlson. He's a funny guy. He's a joy to work for. I know this personally. And this is my favorite clip so far that they've leaked. Tucker Carlson pulling a Bill O'Reilly. F it! We'll do it live!
Roll me from afar? Okay, I'm putting the leash on. You can... Fuck it, we'll do it live! I got you, baby.
I got you, baby. We got you, baby. All right? This is it's been a fun show. And we want to deliver good news to you. We want to deliver a little bit of joy, happiness, or uplifting to your feed. Some days you can't. Some days you got to cover the Biden corruption and the bombing or the fake bombing of the Kremlin. Either way, some days you can't. But we can ensure that at least on every single show we try. And the best that we can do is ending our show with a Bible verse if you're needing that uplifting. Regardless of the news cycle, and certainly we do need the uplifting, especially in these most recent news cycles. Ephesians 6:11 today. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. Let it be known, ladies and gentlemen, the devil is real and does not have good things planned for the people of this earth, for God's creation. So put on the full armor of God, protect yourself, and know that you will have victory over Satan in this life or the next, and that is the confidence that you can carry with you through the day. You come from a long line of martyrs and heroes of the faith and saints, brave men and women, and people who stood up in times darker than this. I know, it seems crazy, but it's true. And they had a lot more to lose. And they were facing much more evil and much more consolidated powers than we are even at this date. And so get that energy, get that spirit, and get that armor of God on, and walk with confidence. And with the confidence that comes from knowing victory in this life or the next. Structure your life correctly. God, family, country. That's what we do on this show. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. See ya.